welcome to the Tribe Table.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's wonderful to be here. We are in Midtown Associates space.
Well, Midtown actually was a sponsor of our film as well. So
Beautiful town. Bentonville Film Festival is a great festival in a great town, and we're so appreciative of them. And you have a Bentonville story that goes along with your movie F.R.E.D.I, and you came to the festival a couple of years ago.
Correct.
And fell in love. So we moved here from San Francisco and fell in love and never left. So you so you kind of had a similar experience.
I did, yeah. I had a film here 2 years ago that it was great then. I mean, the town was amazing. You think Bentonville, Arkansas, and you think, because I shot the movie that was here, I shot in Mississippi. So you think Mississippi and Arkansas is, same. That's how ignorant I was, and got off the plane and started thinking, well, maybe it is like that, because I saw rolling hills and cows and big wheels of hay, and then as soon as I get into the town square and saw it, I went, wow, this is like a movie set.
Exactly.
Back to the Future, I said. So we have to shoot Fredi here, and that's how that came. Picked up the phone and called Sean right away and said, you got to see this place, and it's just been amazing.
Yeah. So did you think he was just like, what? Did you have the same?
Well, he thinks I am.
When my husband said, hey, we're going to I was like, no.
I typed in Google and typed in Bentonville because I had no idea. I'd never heard of Bentonville, and then I looked it up and I started looking at some of the pictures, and I looked at the town square, and I'm like, this is Anytown, USA, which was really perfect for our movie. We really wanted to do this Anytown, middle of the country, hill valley type of movie, and also the surrounding areas were really beautiful as well. I mean, the Crystal Bridges. That was one of the things that when I had done my research on the city, I had talked to Johnny and I said, we really need to get Crystal Bridges for our science lab. And he was like, we had the closing ceremonies at Crystal Bridges. That's perfect. It's amazing. And so we worked really, really hard with some of the locals. Demi Titzer was a really big advocate for us in getting in there. And we also worked with a company out of Fayetteville, Rock Hill Studios, Carrie and Blake Elder, and
they were amazing.
They were amazing, and
we couldn't have done it actually without them.
I'm a Fayettevillian, so Fayetteville.
So there was that. There was
McClarty Daniel Nissan.
Yes.
That helped us out. They gave us all the cars. They gave us like $300,000 worth of cars to use, and we had University of Arkansas, which was great. We had then we had vendors that donated food to us, like Yayos, that was great, and Suzuki, and Crepes Paulette, and I Don't Know Cafe, and I'm missing one.
The Station Cafe.
The Station Cafe, which we hear is no longer going to be here.
Oh,
well, it's moving.
Best Burgers.
Yeah, so bummed about that. But
Best Grill.
Yes, exactly.
Harvest Bank also, and we had just the support of the town. Fat Tire. So I mean, we couldn't have done it with all.
Well, and I don't know how much people really think about the collaboration that has to go on and the cooperation that has to go on, like all the way down to state tax dollars to bring a film to life, and the work that goes on behind that. It's not just show up and start shooting and hope that nobody says anything.
Exactly.
Well, we reshaped our movie around the city.
That's amazing.
The father didn't have we didn't really define our father character, Randy, played by Tyler Christopher of General Hospital fame. Now he's on Days of Our Lives. Stefan is his name.
You were his pit stop.
But we didn't really have a fully defined job for him, and then we fell in love with the biking aspect of everything. And Johnny had mentioned Slaughter Pen Trail, and I didn't know biking it's almost like Moab, Utah. Maybe even bigger than that.
Here.
It's really big. And when I first visited last March, one of the first things the first place I went was the town square, and we went to the press room, and then walked over to Fat Tire, and there were bicyclists everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was a big priority to integrate biking into the movie. So there's a lot of like our kids, and it's part of like movies of the 80s, which I really love.
Yeah, E.T.
Like E.T. and Goonies.
Yes.
Kids rode bikes everywhere.
Yeah.
And so we integrated that into the movie even more so. I mean, it was there to begin with, but this gave us a remarkable opportunity to put them in these beautiful locations that, you know, you wouldn't see in other places.
It's funny, we had somebody ask a question today. We had one of our screenings today, and one of the questions was, we noticed that you used real names. You know, when you do movies, when you see big movies, they'll change everything.
Yeah.
You know, but we used Fat Tire, Walton 5 and Dime, and
That's awesome.
you know, all the places that we use the real names. Arvest Bank once again, and
I think they let us use their names too because our movie's like a really clean family film.
Yeah.
I think that if I'm a parent of 2 kids, I have 5 and 7-year-old boys, and if you were to take them to see this movie, there's no cursing in it. There's like one little bully aspect of it, but it's nothing like violent. It's just
it's a fun.
It's kind of more funny than anything else, but. There's no guns in the movie.
No smoking, no drinking, no intimacy of any kind.
Well, you already referenced, you know, Goonies and E.T., and it seems very much in that genre. So in addition to it being based in Bentonville and this being the Bentonville Film Festival, you know, the background of Bentonville Film Festival is focusing on women in film, and then moving into diversity and inclusion, which was the first you were here, and it just keeps expanding. You know, disabilities and veterans, and we're just going to keep going until we're Tribe of Human again.
Sure.
That was something that was really on the forefront when Johnny came back from Bentonville. Was you know, he had talked about diversity, and I try to put that in all of the films that I do as well. And I'm kind of fortunate that most of the movies that I've done prior to this have been Lifetime movies. Okay. So most of those casts are female. But it's always in, you know, try to find the right actor for the role, but with that you try to do blind casting as much as you can. And that was something that we did, but we didn't know. I didn't know it was blind casting.
I was going to say blind casting. That's a really interesting term.
It's a term that I heard at one of the events here, and it was like Kids in Media or something. And so our lead scientist was a male originally, and the original script was a male, and the 2 people looking for Fredi were both male, and Fredi was a male, and all these other characters, they were all men
and white.
And the very first thing that I said, and I think you probably said it as well, is like with the people searching for Fredi, it was like, one of these needs to be female right off the bat.
Exactly.
Like, and then it just started opening up, and we had a big debate.
And then you have that moment of why not?
Well, you know, it's like you know, you don't go to the same type of restaurant. You know, I know that's really not a great analogy, but I use that a lot. You're not going to eat Italian food every single day.
Right.
I don't want to watch a movie that has the same, you know, what gives it its depth and texture to me is to see even different accents when you hear people speak. Yeah. It keeps it interesting. You know, I don't want to hear the same exact thing over, and I don't want to eat the same thing every day. So it really adds depth to it. And as Sean was saying, as we changed, we changed the 2. I don't want to call them bad guys, but the 2 that worked.
The antagonists.
That worked for the head bad guy, so to speak, were both males as well, white males. And now one's a female, one's an African American. And it's just that contrast.
So that's good. I'm glad that you were really conscious of that. So how do you feel like the final product came together through your experience in that with the new lens of diversity and inclusion?
What was interesting? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, what was interesting is originally our lead character, James, played by Lucius Hoyas, was written as Caucasian. And through our casting process, we fell in love with 2 particular actors. But one actor we felt was stronger for one role, and then the other way around. And so, you know, through that, you know, casting process, we switched ethnicities, and we never wanted both boys to be white. We had options of, you know, we had thought of African American, Asian, and Latino.
We opened the casting there was no specific. It said all ethnicities.
Yeah, it was all ethnicities.
On all the roles.
Yeah. And so
because you never know what's going to come to the table. Yeah. That's the thing. If you just put white or you put African American, you put
you're just like Don't
Yeah.
be specific.
Yeah.
Just leave it.
And I know we
Shows
never
up.
mentioned it in that regard when we were doing it,
Right.
but when I heard about it, I was like, that's really kind of what we
It
did.
is, yeah, that is what we did.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of people come to the table, and you just kind of stayed open to the
Exactly.
people
Yeah.
that were attracted to the role, as
Mhm.
opposed to
Yeah, and it's actually the
stereotype.
actor itself kind of picked the role as us picking the actor, and that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, kind of being the blind casting is you think it's one thing, and then you see all these auditions and these different people come in, and it's kind of like wow, so they actually picked
Yeah.
the role.
It's like it's a metaphor for life, right? Be
Yeah.
open.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Be open to what comes in the door.
You test people against each other too, or with each other,
And chemistry.
and you
right?
see
Yeah.
chemistry. You see you see things in the character that you didn't maybe recognize when you were writing it, and or you see something new that engages you even more. You're like, wow, I didn't think about it in that regard, but this is amazing. And one of the things about our writing team, because we did have a pretty diverse crew in certain regards. I mean, so my wife was one of the writers. She was the lead writer on the movie. We had a script, but we rewrote the script, and so she was our lead writer, and so she has a very strong voice. Like if I debate with her, I lose a lot of the time.
Well, you're supposed to.
But I think that she gave us that. Yeah, she helped with that female perspective in a lot of those roles.
Yeah.
And when I direct, what I like to do is I always want people to let me know as a director I have a point of view, but I want to make sure that when they're performing in a scene that I want them to be real and true. And this happened a lot with the teenagers. It was like, would you guys actually really do this? Because I feel like if you're a teenager watching the movie and you know that that's not how teenagers would respond to things, then they see right through it.
Yeah, and they're not going to act normally or naturally, and it's just going to show up all over the place. Good.
Yeah.
So do you feel like, can I be so bold as to say that your involvement in the festival a couple of years ago changed this film?
I think.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would say it definitely did. I want to go back, if I can, for a quick second to when I was here 2 years ago. It was what was surprising for me is that I had read about the festival and being, women in film and how diverse it was and inclusive and everything else. The film that I had was called Saved by Grace.
Yes.
Starred Joey Lawrence, which was a faith-based
I
film.
love that.
And I'm thinking, there's just no chance that I'm going to get a faith-based film into such a diverse,
Right.
because usually they don't go hand in hand.
Interesting.
And we got in, and I'm going, so that's what really made me really feel that this film festival was really truly
diversity.
inclusive
Yeah.
and diverse, but more inclusive that they would have such a broad spectrum and have a faith-based film in it. So I went, yay to Bentonville.
I think the message of the festival is like really relevant right now too. Like I've seen several movies that you have such diverse cast, and I just think this is where we're going. It's like the train has left finally, and you see it in like a movie like Star Wars, the new Star Wars movies, and you see those roles were all men. The only woman in space was pretty much Princess Leia.
Yeah.
And now you have Rey, but yet even the toy manufacturers didn't believe in Rey as a commodity or something.
She wasn't a Barbie. Nobody was gonna buy her.
And I go to Disneyland. I take my kids to Disneyland, and you see all these little girls dressed as Rey.
I know.
And I think it's an exciting time.
It is. Yeah, we just got back from Disneyland. We were in LA a couple of weeks ago, and that was amazing to me, because you walk in and you expect to see the princess and the princess costumes, and I saw Rey, and I saw even some girls dressed as some of their favorite guy characters.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool. I like the kind of gender blending, and that it doesn't matter. It's about the person.
Sometimes I need to unplug. Sometimes I've got to reboot. Sometimes I just want to sleep. But I always want to connect with you. Get into Brew Moods, aromatherapy lotion powered by a mindfulness app.